All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our campus engagement session on the 2025 Canada Games. It's lovely to have so many of you joining us on screen, and I know we have a few joining us as well in our viewing area on campus. We're just going to wait another minute or so before we get started, and so if you'll bear with us now, we'll start the presentation shortly. Still have a number of people just joining online, so again, we'll get started in just under a minute. All right, well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us this morning. My name's Jordan Wright. I'm lead for Canada Games Planning here at Memorial University. I'm joined on the screen and hosting in Science 2109 by Alison Heisted, who's project coordinator with our small team as well. And it's lovely to be here again. This is our third campus engagement session. And it's just wonderful to be together to share about planning, to raise awareness amongst our community about what you can expect for this summer. And certainly, there still are a couple of months away from the games, and so it's great to be able to share our progress to date, but there is still time to consider new ideas, other opportunities. And so thank you so much for spending your time here with us this morning and for engaging on the topic. Just a couple of housekeeping notes here as I familiarize myself with WebEx again. Closed captioning is available for the session. I understand there's a button, hopefully in your bottom left corner, if you'd like to avail of that option. As well, they've changed how the Q&A function works here recently. So on your monitor, you may have been prompted by a service called Slido that's visible on your screen. That is how you submit your questions during this session. So we will have a Q&A portion at the end that Alison will help to moderate. If Slido has not popped up on your screen, I'm told in the bottom right-hand corner, there should be 3 dots. And if you select those, you should see an option there for Slido Q&A. So you can select that and that should engage the function. And then you should be able to put your question there for Alison to see. So that's a little bit of housekeeping. Again, there's a bit of material to share, and then there's an opportunity for Q&A at the end of the session. So again, thanks so much for joining us this morning for our third campus engagement session on Canada Games happening this summer. And before we got started, wanted to share a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the lands on which Memorial University's campuses are situated are in the traditional territories of diverse Indigenous groups, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. Should have also mentioned in our welcome there that we are recording this session, so it can be referred back to at a future date if you'd like to review the information. So a little bit about what we're going to cover here this morning. We're going to talk first of all about the Canada Games, just to share some information if this is your first time or repeat visitor on the subject. We'll talk about planning updates happening here at Memorial, some opportunities that are still upcoming. We'll give a very quick overview of our capital projects, both large and small, major and minor, as we call them. And then there'll be that opportunity for some question and discussion at the end. So the countdown is on. We're just over 2 months away from the Canada Games. So if you look on the Host Society's website, they'll tell you we're roughly 64 days away today. New on this screen at the center is they unveiled the medals at their 100 Days Out ceremony there just a month or so ago. So we are getting close, and we've been talking about this for a while. So the energy, enthusiasm, momentum is really building as we approach August and the Canada Games this summer. So what are the Canada Games? A few facts to share here from the host society. The games, the dates are the 8th to the 25th of August this summer. The Canada Games are Canada's largest multi-sport event, and they are hosted in a different province every 2 years, and they alternate between winter and summer. They're designed to be very inclusive, and the host society has been very intentional with this as they've been doing their scheduling, their accommodations. Basically, every detail of the games has really been viewed from that lens. And you will have about representation from communities around 800 across the country. 22 communities have hosted the games over its tenure, and this is the third time the games will be in our province. Of course, St. John's hosted in 1977, Corner Brook in 1999, and again, St. John's now in 2025. So a quick overview of what we can expect at Memorial and some of the activities. We will be hosting 5 sports here. So the field house will have basketball in week 1, then volleyball in week 2. The Ack Arena will be hosting swimming in week 1 and artistic swimming and diving in week 2. In addition to our sports competitions, certainly there's lots of other activity on campus. Some of the games accommodations will be here on campus. We have dining services, meeting spaces, volunteer space, entertainment, and so forth, as you can see there on the screen. I mean, we're a very active hub for the Canada Games, and we're proud to partner with the Canada Games, and it should be a very vibrant and dynamic period here in August. Of course, you've probably heard about this. The host society does need your support and needs support of around 5,000 volunteers. They're making very good progress toward their goal. I know last update they had over 4,000, and I'm sure it's ticked up more since then, but they are still accepting applications. So there are over 150 different roles with the host society. They are looking for about 500 bilingual volunteers. And so if you are interested in volunteering with the Canada Games Host Society, you can visit their website, which is on the screen. They also have their volunteer center, which is located on Waterford Bridge Road, with the hours as indicated. And again, we will touch on this a little bit more in terms of how Memorial is supporting the Canada Games Host Society volunteer efforts. So that's a little bit about the games and what you can expect to be happening here on campus in August. So let's talk about some of our planning to date. So one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, will campus be open and operational during the games? So the answer to that is our first bullet there. Yes, St. John's campus will remain operational during the games. Buildings will still be open. There are a few exceptions in terms of access that we'll touch on shortly. But yes, campus will be open and operational during the games. It is the summer, so generally speaking, there's a little bit less activity happening during that time in the semester or lead up to the semester. But campus will be open and operational during the games. So a couple of dates that you can see there on the screen. The majority of the preparation of those spaces that we mentioned a moment ago will be happening during the 5th to the 7th of August. That's been scheduled and sequenced to be after exams complete for the semester. So the majority of preparations will occur between the 5th and 7th. Where possible, we are doing some preparations and some setup right now as we speak. Things are happening throughout campus, but the majority of our work will be happening between the 5th and 7th, and that's where you'll see a lot of activity here on campus. Of course, here for our university community, obviously, once the games concludes, we're very interested in welcoming our students and really getting excited about our fall semester. So we will turn our attention to restoring, preparing campus as soon as our athletes start departing on August 25th. So that will be an effort that's shared between Memorial Resources as well as the host society. And we will turn around campus to be ready to welcome our students back for a lovely and exciting semester, fall semester. Speaking of the fall semester, a few things to think about both from the spring and fall. We did adjust the academic calendar ever so slightly, and this effort's been underway for some time, so this is a reminder for everyone. Classes for the spring-summer semester will end August 1st of this year, and exams will end on August 5th. So work is already underway in terms of scheduling exams to align with those dates and to ensure that space is available to prioritize the academic semester and then we'll transition into Canada Games thereafter. In terms of the fall semester, Labor Day falls on the 1st of September this year. So it's kind of the earliest that Labor Day could happen. So we've actually adjusted the start date of the fall semester to be that second week of September. So classes begin on September 9th. So that's a flag for you. And of course, we shared at our last engagement session that the recreation fee has been adjusted as well for the summer semester, knowing that access to the field house has changed because of the period of the games. So the recreation fee has been adjusted for the 14-week spring semester, the 6-week summer semester, as well as for medical students. So we talked about everything that's happening on campus and what you can expect to experience here. So where is it happening? So this is a map that gets updated every so often, and it kind of illustrates which buildings have some or substantial use. So you see a little legend there talking about light use, moderate use, substantial use. That's generally in terms of the net area that's being occupied. Now, just because a building has light use, it may be busy or have a high density. The example we always give there is the Bruno Center. We don't have a lot of licensed space within the Bruno Center. However, the atrium will be used as a space for sponsors, for pin trading, so you can expect that there will be some activity in some of these buildings, even if it does have light use indicated. This map does get updated from time to time, so we encourage you to check back on our website. You can see it there on the screen, mun.ca/2025 Canada Games, to get the latest information. The other thing of note, if you are interested in specifically which rooms or an atrium or what have you is in use in some of these buildings, you can check the website, and we do have a file linked there where you can access specifically which rooms are in use by the Canada Games if you want to know for your planning or just general awareness. So again, please do check the website often, as this information does get updated. In the fall, we also tried to prepare for this planned event by engaging in something called continuity planning. And we relied on some internal resources to help us with this exercise. And so really the purpose of continuity planning is to help identify service areas that potentially could be impacted during the games and to assist units with their operational planning. So we received over 25 submissions, and those submissions both helped us as well as the units in terms of preparation and lead up. So the submissions did help us to identify some potential challenges, identify some key messages from a communications perspective. And on our website as well, you will find a summary of assumptions compiled to date. Again, I sound like a broken record. The information does get updated frequently, so please do check back, especially as we're in kind of the home stretch now of the games. But you can get a sense of what operational level of service you can expect from units, departments. And if you haven't participated in this process but want to get your information out there, certainly you can reach out to our office and we'll have those contacts at the end of the presentation. But a few things that have either come up during continuity planning, either assumptions that have been made, frequently asked questions, those sorts of things that we just wanted to touch on. First up is workforce planning. Obviously, there will be increased density on campus. We have roughly 5,000 athletes, coaches, and managers who will be staying on campus. We have a number of guests, loved ones, etc., that will be viewing sports or here to support their family, etc. So we will have increased density on campus. Now, obviously, this lines up with usually a slower end of semester period during the regular academic semester, where we tend to have less density on campus. So that's obviously why this is planned this way. But we do encourage units to think about potential use of annual leave. Obviously, your operational requirements need to be met. And obviously, you need to make sure that business continuity is happening for yourself and your unit and that you're getting ready for the fall semester. But we are encouraging groups to think about annual leave use. And of course, the reminders there on screen for those of us who have annual leave, that there is an excess leave deadline of October 31st. So it is an opportunity to help you manage that excess leave, potentially, certainly during the summer. Another question we get a lot is, will I be able to access my building? And again, is campus open? Yes, campus is open and operational. And for the most part, regular building access will remain in place for most of St. John's campus. There are a few exceptions, and you can see them there on the screen. Our residence spaces and sports venues will have some reduced access. And what that means is you may need an accreditation from the host society to access residents, as an example. And we're working with some units like facilities management, like our Office of the Chief Information Officer, to ensure that those who need to be in these spaces to perform their work will have accreditation, certainly our housing group as well. So we are working with groups on accreditation. But again, if you want to reach out to us, if you have questions about access, certainly we can help. But again, generally speaking, access remains in place. You don't need special accreditation for any spaces other than the residence area. The sports venues will be ticketed admission. So obviously, while there are sports happening in these areas, you will need specific admission to competitions, et cetera, similar to when we have sports venues or other bookings on campus. So with the exception of residence and sports venues, generally speaking, regular building access will remain and campus is operational. We've also put it there on the screen that we've also signed memorandums of understanding with a few of our bargaining units, NAEP 7801, 7803, and 7804, that has just provided some clarity on roles and responsibilities with respect to the host society. Obviously, there's a tremendous volume of work that needs to be completed to support this community that's going to be here on campus. And so we do have some shared roles and responsibilities between our bargaining units as well as with the host society. So if you are a member of those bargaining units and you're interested in information, you can speak with your local representative to share that information. I understand it's already been communicated, hopefully. But if you do have questions, you can certainly reach out to your local to understand that a little bit better. From a where should I work perspective, there are certainly options. And the first one that I really just want to reinforce is if you need to be on campus or you prefer to be on campus, you are welcome and you can certainly be on campus, okay? So on-campus work is available for individuals or units who require or prefer to be on campus. If you do have a remote work arrangement or you have the opportunity for flexible work during the period of the games, certainly we encourage people to explore that, to have conversations within your units. Always make sure that your unit's continuity and business requirements are taken care of. So these are conversations that you can have with your manager, supervisor, department head, whomever, to ensure that the work plan you're putting in place or thinking about meets the requirements of the unit. So remote work is certainly at the discretion of the unit, but it is not a requirement. Again, we will have a lot of people on campus, so certainly if you don't want to be here or if you can have a flexible work arrangement, it's a good time to explore that. And if you share those plans with us, it helps us in terms of communications, security, parking planning. I am being asked to remind you that any remote work arrangements must follow our flexible work arrangements policy, and you will require a Memorial managed asset to access Memorial's network via VPN. It's noted there as well that there is no institutional equipment available for loaning or purchase, what have you, for this period of time during the summer. So it must be supported by existing unit resources or should have been accounted for during your 25-26 budget planning. So again, just to restate, if you'd like to be on campus, you are welcome to be on campus and you can certainly be here. If you'd like to explore a flexible work arrangement, certainly there's time to do so. And if you have questions, you can also speak with your human resources advisor. I mentioned this one earlier about volunteering with the host society. They do have a need for 5,000 individuals to help meet their complement and their operational requirements. And Memorial, as a community partner of the Games, is certainly happy to support the Canada Games Host Society with their goal of 5,000 volunteers. So it came out through our Department of Human Resources and through Newsline and things a little while ago that eligible non-academic university employees may apply for up to 2 days of volunteer leave to volunteer with the host society. Now, again, I remind you that volunteering with the host society must be done through the host society's website and go through their process formally. This special leave can be taken up to 30 days prior to the start of the games, which is July 9th, or until 1 day after closing, which is August 26th. Scheduling a volunteer leave again should be and must be discussed and agreed upon between employee and their supervisor. If you are interested in volunteering with the host society, certainly there are volunteer opportunities outside of the working day on evenings and weekends. But if you're interested in using this volunteer leave during work time, you need to have that conversation with your unit to ensure that your unit's operational requirements are met and that you have the resources available for you to volunteer. But Memorial, again, is very supportive of the host society and their volunteer drive, and we're delighted to be able to provide 2 days of volunteer leave for this purpose. There is more information available online. You can see there the guidelines for volunteer leave for the 2025 Summer Games, Canada Summer Games, is on the Human Resources website. Another topic that we get asked a lot about is parking and what's parking going to look like during the games. So this is a map. You'll notice, some of you, that this has been updated. As I say, things change and there's a few notable changes here. But this gives you a general sense of what parking is going to look like on campus. So the lots that are identified there in yellow are lots that are licensed to the Canada Games. What that means is Canada Games has access to those lots for the purposes of spectators, volunteers, what have you, and they will be using those lots. What this means is if you have a permit that's typically in one of those lots, you will have been temporarily reassigned to another lot. And you can see up there on the screen that it identifies which lot you have been reassigned to. And I have another slide in a second that's a little bit larger to go over that. Again, this is available on our website. And you might say, well, how did we come up with this arrangement? So again, permits in some licensed lots will be reassigned. And factors that helped us figure out how to do this reassignment were we did lot counts last year between our summer and fall semester to get a sense of what the parking ebb and flow looked like on campus at different hours of the day, evening, weekend, peak hours, etc. And of course, those business continuity plans helped us, understanding which units were thinking about working on campus versus working with a flexible work arrangement. That was really helpful to us to identify kind of which lots were really in demand. It did go out with the parking renewals this year that there were discounts for annual and summer permit holders on St. John's campus to accommodate for this short disruption. And some things to think about yourself if you'd like to try something new for the summer, or maybe to experiment for a short period of time. Maybe you can think about carpooling, maybe public transit, biking, walking, active transportation, great options. There are some special modes of public transport that will be announced by the host society as they are confirmed. And we've also asked that if you are volunteering with the games, you can use those volunteer lots rather than your own permitted lot, which might give you access a little bit closer to your venue, but also helps us to preserve parking for those who need it with their permits. And we're also happy to share, it's at the bottom of the screen, this is updated since our March session. We have worked with Metrobus to secure a limited number of complimentary Metrobus passes. So if you are an individual who has been impacted or who would like to potentially try public transit during the summer, and I say summer, really it's during August, I apologize, you can reach out to our parking office if you're interested, and they have access to a limited number of Metrobus passes for the month of August that will help you to get to campus. So we're really appreciative of Metrobus and that partnership. And really, again, this is an opportunity to help with our parking density, to consider alternate modes of transportation. And Metrobus, again, is very supportive of this, and we thank them for that. Again, this is just a little bit of an expanded view of that reassignment. Again, you will note the little asterisk there that this is subject to change as the traffic management plans progress. So a couple of quick notes that I will say since our last meeting together in March. I know there was a question last time about motorcycles and are there any impacts to motorcycles? So you will note that the motorcycle lot there next to McPherson College off Liviers Loop and Phelan Road has been reassigned to lot 15B near Henrietta Harvey. That's because we're really trying to reduce the amount of traffic and vehicles around the accommodations area of the games. So in our map right here, I don't know if you can actually see my mouse, but this area right here next to Henrietta Harvey is the reassigned motorcycle parking. And again, this will be online later. And we also had a comment or question last time about overflow parking. So one of the updates that's happened very recently is you'll note that lot 19 over here is now available as an overflow for all areas on campus. So in our previous map, that one had been licensed to the host society. It's no longer licensed to the host society, and it is now available as overflow parking for anyone on campus that might not be able to avail of their designated parking area. So that's a little bit about parking. Again, if you do have questions about Blue Zone permits, we encourage you to reach out to the parking office, and they can make sure that your needs are understood and to work through solutions with you. A few other things here on the slide, and again, most of this was consistent or is consistent with what was presented and shared in March. We have a number of groups who, through the continuity planning process, shared what their level of service will be. So print and mail services, there's no interruptions. The QE2 library and collections will be available. The Child Care Center has aligned their annual closure to align with the dates of the games. So that's very helpful, certainly. Thesis defense will be remote during that period. Strategic procurement does anticipate higher volumes, so if you have procurement needs, please reach out and speak to them early. Facilities management, chief information officer, marketing communications, again, they're going to be heavily involved and engaged in the games and a lot of projects leading up to the games. So please reach out to them if you have project ideas or things in the queue to discuss scheduling. And many units that are not providing direct supports to the games do not expect reduced service levels, but there may be a hybrid service model that's offered with some reduced in-person service. So again, a lot of these assumptions and information is available on our website, is subject to change. If you have an announcement or an adjustment to your level of service or your operating model during that period, and you want to ensure that it's being communicated and captured for our university community, please do reach out to our office. Again, our emails will be at the end of the session, but please do reach out to our office and we're happy to update the information or have conversations with you if you think you might have an impact and we haven't had that conversation yet. So that was a little bit of an exciting period here in the session, which is really what are some of the opportunities and things that we can all kind of look forward to and engage in? Well, one of the significant opportunities for the university, obviously, and being such a critical partner in the games, is that we will have a very captive audience here on campus. I know I've mentioned the number of over 5,000 and guests and visitors and spectators. So this is really an opportunity to showcase our university, build positive energy, and really to be ambassadors of the province, of our community, and of the university first and foremost. So we do have opportunity to have what we call showcase experiences here on campus. We will have a small hub outside of the QE2 library. And you can see on the screen there that we'll really have some engaging content. Some of them are displays, demonstrations, arts and crafts, games, challenges, and more. And some of those will take place, hopefully, throughout campus, but they will start at our booth there near the QE2 library. We did put a call out to the university community earlier this calendar year, asking for those who are interested to participate and offer a showcase experience. You can see a wonderful assortment of departments, units, faculties, multi-campus representation. We are so appreciative of your outreach and support and interest in becoming involved in our showcase experiences. I have to give a shout out to Alison Heisted on the call, who's done a fantastic job working with our units who have expressed interest and to schedule some of these experiences to offer dynamic, interactive, and engaging experiences for athletes, their family members. And you will note at the bottom there, we are really trying to use this opportunity to focus on student recruitment and multi-campus engagement. So our recruitment office has also been very engaged in this process, very excited to work with us. And we're also going to be ensuring that even when something is not recruitment specific, that we do have the recruitment theme embedded in our offerings or in our communications. So we're really focusing this as a strategic recruitment initiative this summer to engage with a target audience from across the country and individuals who may be interested in our post-secondary institution now or into the future. So again, just a big thank you to our campus community who has responded to the call. And again, if you are still interested, We may be able to find ways, I say this and Nelson might be cringing in the room there, we may be able to find opportunities to still onboard some other units. So please reach out to our office and we'll see if there's an opportunity to get you involved directly or indirectly in this opportunity. And again, just a big thank you to everyone who's reached out so far. The sort of associated ask here that is new is we will be looking for a limited number of what we're calling team memorial participants. So these are individuals, they can be faculty, staff, students, retirees, who are interested in assisting with showcase experiences and student recruitment. So those activations that we just talked about on campus, while some of the teams that I identified will bring their own groups, we might need and may need some support from others. And so we would like some support with our showcase experiences. We also will want some support to monitor our permitted parking lots. So we've been working with our bargaining unit on this as well. And so we do anticipate that we will want some presence at permitted parking lots during some hours of the day. So again, there's an opportunity to help us there. And of course, this is emerging, evolving, it's creative. There will be and are other opportunities that are emerging and developing daily. So we're looking for a limited number of Team Memorial participants to help Memorial take advantage of this opportunity and really meet its obligations for the games. A call went out through Newsline and a few other means there last week. And so there is a deadline of June 13th to express your interest. So there's a short survey there if you'd like to complete it and express your interest. Again, we only have so many opportunities available. So depending on the response, we'll see who we can schedule. And we appreciate your interest, whether it does or doesn't align with schedule. Generally speaking, these will be 2-hour shifts, okay? We've been asked a lot of questions just in general about how this is or isn't the same thing as the host society volunteer opportunity and that leave that I talked about earlier. They are two distinct things, okay? What's in common with them is that you need to discuss these opportunities with your manager, supervisor, unit head, whomever, to make sure that it's supported and make sure that it can work from an operational perspective. But certainly the university is supportive of this initiative, is supportive of the Canada Games, and we'd love to have members of Team Memorial involved, whether it's with the host society or with our Team Memorial activations. So this opportunity has nothing to do with that Team Memorial, or sorry, the Memorial Volunteer Leave that I mentioned earlier. The Memorial Volunteer Leave is volunteering with the host society, and you can have up to 2 days in support of that, and you go through the formal process with the host society. The Team Memorial activations and participants that we're looking for is working with Memorial. A lot of the opportunities will be during the workday, and they would be scheduled as 2-hour shifts. There is a form, it's a Qualtrics form that's up online right now, and you can identify all of your availability. We are not going to likely schedule you for all of your availability. We will probably give you a shift or two, and obviously that can be a conversation with your unit. But these are 2-hour shifts to have some role presence at either our experiences or to help us with our parking transportation plan. Once we have our list of individuals, we will be having a couple of training sessions to kind of onboard you to Canada Games, to talk about some of the details of accreditation and the parking lots and the activations. And again, to sort of share some of those recruitment key messages about the institution, because any and all of us are ambassadors during this period. And so we will have some key messages available. And we will have some visual identity and identifier that Team Memorial participants will receive a Team Memorial t-shirt and hat. So again, this is an open opportunity, it was just announced last week. Please express your interest by June 13th. Again, we appreciate all the interest that we'll receive. Again, we only have limited number of opportunities and shifts, so we will do our best to engage with those who reach out. But again, please do have conversations with your unit, your department manager, et cetera. But this is something the institution is supporting. It's very similar to volunteering for convocation. It's a wonderful way to engage in the spirit of the games and be an ambassador for our university, hopefully without taking up too much time from your schedule. Another couple of exciting things to share, and some of these pictures are very live, I will say, as you can see here on the screen. So a few projects are underway. Certainly from a major capital perspective, we're delighted to share that the ACK Arena is nearing substantial completion with final inspections underway. We had a meeting with our facilities colleagues just this morning talking about a few of the last inspections and certificates that we need. So things are really moving along well with the ACK Arena. You can see some latest and greatest photos there. One of them's taken from up on the 10-meter diving platform. Probably not a lot of us get to see that view. And a lovely one there looking at the length of the pool with the ductwork and the new seating that you can see. So things are going well with the ACK Arena. And once we reach what's called substantial completion, the works team, facilities management, and host society will then be managing some items required to become operationally ready for the games. So substantial completion is certainly a wonderful milestone from our facilities and construction schedule perspective as we transition into our operational readiness. But things are well, and again, we're happy to share these photos with you. The Fortis Canada Games Complex, Memorial's a partner in this project. It's built on some land that belongs to the university, and this one is managed by the City of St. John's. It is also nearing substantial completion. I know they're planning some events coming up soon, and more updates on that project are available on the Engage St. John's website. And there's a lovely drone photo taken a few months ago, but really gives you a sense of the site with the FIFA soccer turf there, the track and field, and the Center of Excellence indoor training facility. A few other things that are happening on campus. Last time we shared a few of these. We do have some accessibility projects that have been ongoing, and these are funded by the Canada Games Host Society. We have a lovely new accessible ramp connecting our Hunter Square there with Guju Dining Hall that's been in place. We have exterior painting and a refresh of Burton's Pond Apartments that's been completed. We have other washroom accessibility upgrades that have happened throughout buildings on campus, and a few other accessibility upgrades to come. And a few other things that are either in progress now that we're into kind of the spring construction season are we have some door replacements happening at Burton's Pond. We have landscaping happening over there, as well as a stairwell refresh. We've also got painting happening in the physical education gym. That was one of the photos there a couple slides ago that I said is pretty real time. So you can see it in progress there. So again, some wonderful refreshes and improvements to our campus community thanks to funding from the Host Society. And thanks also to our teams here with facilities management and chief information officer, tech services, a number of others I'm probably not mentioning, but who have really been engaging in helping us to complete this work and plan and schedule it. In terms of what we can expect during the games, again, there's been a lot of awareness of what's to come, planning, and of course, we know that planning is in the lead up and then we move into execution. So during the games, we're now looking at our operational requirements. And so we have established and we're establishing a operations committee that will be meeting daily during the games to address day-to-day concerns and to ensure internal coordination across our units. We used to have a slide here that talked about over 30 units are engaged in the planning for Canada Games. This is a multi-unit, multi-campus initiative. And so ensuring that internal coordination is really important. And this is one of the lessons we learned from other universities who've hosted the games in the past. So we will be having daily meetings of an operational committee to share information, get updates, ensure that work is being prioritized as needed, and just for early awareness of any potential changes, issues, and so on. If there are emergencies on campus, they will be managed through standard processes established by our emergency management office. So if there is an emergency on campus, it will follow the same procedures as, I'll say, a standard emergency during the academic year, during the summer, etc. And those will be communicated accordingly. Speaking of communications, to stay updated during the games, certainly you can look at our usual channels. MunSafe is kind of a definite first recommendation to stay posted on things of life on campus or any advisories. Newsline is certainly another tool. Our website is another tool. So certainly we'll be doing our best to communicate during the games. And we've just flagged down there that if your unit is experiencing operational concerns during the games, you can reach out through your normal routes. So you can certainly speak to your department head or your director or supervisor, whomever, and they can escalate it through usual processes. But you can also reach out to our office. certainly our office is going to be very busy responding and coordinating things, but we do want to hear from you. So if you are experiencing operational challenges during the games, please feel free to reach out to our office. At least we will have that awareness. We can bring it to our operations committee. We can bring it to the host society. We can bring it to whomever to ensure that there's an understanding of your needs, to ensure that we try and address these matters as best as possible. Just in terms of a realistic preview of the games, it's not unexpected that there will be a period of adjustment. So we mentioned there about the 8th to the 25th. So when athletes and everyone sort of arrives, it is expected that there will be a period of adjustment, both for our university as well as for the guests who will be here. So we are trying to scale resources kind of within the university to ensure that service levels remain, but we are aware that we will settle into a routine as the week goes on for week 1. And then, of course, we transition to week 2. So we will have a lot of athletes moving out during that weekend. And then we will have a new group and cohort who's onboarding. And so we expect we'll have a similar period of adjustment. So just please be patient. We understand that some of the experience may disrupt your usual routine or that there may be some disruptions. Again, please notify us, let us know. We ask for your patience and understanding as we welcome a generational event here on campus, and we really try to be ambassadors of our institution and really generate positive momentum, energy, and really utilize this as a strategic recruitment opportunity. And just in closing there, again, I really encourage you to check our website, mun.ca/2025 Canada Games. We will update things as updates become available. And we have an email address there, canadagames2025@mun.ca. Myself and Allison are available through there, and we are sure to respond to inquiries. Again, if you're interested in opportunities with the host society or information about the Canada Games outside of Memorial's involvement, certainly we encourage you to visit the official Canada Games website, which is there on the screen. So thank you so much for your time and for listening to me. I know I shared a fair bit there, and so at this point I see Allison's back on the screen with me. So we're happy to have conversation, do a Q&A here if there are any questions. And again, the dialogue can certainly continue after this session if you'd like to reach out to our office. So Allison, I'll see if there's anything to respond to.
Yeah, sure thing, Jordan. I do have some questions in the room and some questions online. So I'm just going to start with a question online. And then we've got Brenda Anstey in the room here helping me out to bring the mic around. So I'll take the first one. And then Brenda, when you're ready, I can see that there is a question on the other side of the room there. So Jordan, the first question here is coming up around the fitness classes at the Works. Are fitness classes at the Works impacted or canceled?
So during the period of the games, which is again August 8th to the 25th, the Works is exclusively licensed for the Canada Games. So regular programming that would be happening, that includes fitness classes, camps, those sorts of things. The space will be exclusively licensed to the Canada Games, and so those will not be available during those dates. Again, my best recommendation would be to reach out to the Works. They will advise of any schedule changes in lead up to the games. Canada Games Host Society have advised us that they do not need much time in advance of the games, but we know that sometimes requirements change and we may need to be flexible and adapt. But leading up to the games, there should be minimal disruption. But during the period of the games, those services would not be available because it's exclusively licensed for the Canada Games during that period.
Thanks, Jordan. And we're just going to go to one in the room. And just for the folks in the room, unfortunately, we don't have you on camera, but the mic is live.
Cool. Is it live? Cool, yeah. Okay, my question, I have a few, but I'll just ask one. In terms of campus improvements, is there any plan or has there been any work on having clean water in Peyton College? Because I know that students have expressed to me that there's no drinkable water in the fountains except for on the first floor of each Peyton College building, in several buildings at least. And I was just wondering, because I think that that could be very uncomfortable for people to see and experience.
I'll just say thank you for the comment. I don't have that one currently flagged on my list or sort of in our working list as a specific requirement or outstanding item. We do meet with facilities as well as our student residences team a fair bit, but thank you for the question. And we'll add that to our list to obviously ensure what we can that there's a favorable experience there. So I thank you for raising that to our attention.
All right, thank you for that. My next question is also related to housing. I'm a representative of Munsu, and many students in previous months have come to us with concerns that they could be homeless from their eviction from residence. What has been done in recent months to accommodate students, and is there a guarantee that no students will be homeless because of the games?
So thank you for that question. And I know we spoke about housing a little bit more at our March session. At that time, we shared that the existing contracts for residents would be expiring at the end of April, and that there wouldn't be an opportunity for new applications at that time. So in terms of what has been done, we shared a communication last May, and when I say last May, I mean May of 2024, with anyone who was currently living on campus, and it wasn't even just living at St. John's campus, Signal Hill was included in this as well, to advise of what the situation would be for summer of 2025. So we tried to share the information as early as possible for those who were currently living here. And we also included the information on the application portal so that individuals knew if they were choosing to live on campus in the fall or in the summer, what have you, that they were aware of those contract dates, that the contract expiry dates would be at the end of April. So we tried to share information as early as we could, and we had some reminders as well. As we work towards the end of contract dates, we also had access to a housing advisor who was here to help us with students, both relating to this summer specifically, but in general, who were experiencing challenges finding housing. I will say that, again, as we think about our normal operations during the summer, we typically have guest accommodation services that runs in our Peyton College and McPherson College during the summer. We have a shortened season for that this year. That is very similar to every year that the majority of students move out at the end of April in Peyton College and McPherson. So we did have 2 buildings in Burton's Pond that were going to be impacted this summer. Again, we tried with early awareness and information for students who were living here as well as new applicants. And with our housing advisor, she worked exclusively and directly with students who expressed concerns, both impacted specifically for this summer or just in general. And I am able to share here with this group that essentially of everyone who reached out to our housing advisor since the last session, so we had just over 50 students reach out. 50 students were successful in finding off-campus accommodations through working together with our housing advisor, their own efforts, and we are happy to say that of those that we are aware of, we were able to support them. If there are other students who are experiencing challenges with housing, whether it's specifically this summer or into the fall, again, we encourage you to reach out to housing@mun.ca or specifically for our assistance from our housing advisor, international@mun.ca, and we will ensure that that conversation is ongoing. We can understand that that creates potential for stress and anxiety and discomfort, and we are here to help you. Again, I can say now, because we've done this for a few months, that we do have a positive track record over the last couple of months of helping students in this situation. And we do have a limited number of emergency funds available as well that we have been able to provide students, again, that have reached out to us based on their individual case-to-case needs. So again, I guess my short note there is we understand this can be challenging, and if you reach out, we will work with you on an individual basis. Again, international@mun.ca is your best resource for that.
Thank you, Jordan. I'm going to take a couple more from the online and then we'll go back to another in the room. So the next one from online is, is there any chance that Lot 3 will be repaved before the games?
So Lot 3, if I am correct, is over next to the Aqua Arena. There is some paving underway in the portion closest to the Fortis Canada Games complex, as that's achieving substantial completion. There are some minor deficiencies, I know, on the list in other areas, but there's not a full repaving planned of that lot. Again, if you do have specific concerns, you can certainly reach out to our office and we can share those. But again, the parking lot sort of within the Aqua Arena area is actually getting paved right now as we speak. The lot closest to the Fortis Canada Games complex, again, is undergoing work from the city right now. And if I'm correct in thinking about the area we're talking about, there's not a substantial effort in that section of Lot 3 that I think we're talking about.
Thank you, Jordan. Another question around, oh, nope, so this is the first one. So around a two-part question on the works. Will fitness classes at the works be impacted or canceled? And if yes, will memberships for staff be compensated?
So I think I answered the fitness classes conversation there in the first Q&A. So again, during the period of the games, the works, meaning the field house and the Aqua Arena, will be licensed exclusively to the Canada Games Host Society. And so programming during that period will be impacted. Again, I encourage you to reach out to the works directly to see if there are any other schedule impacts, but during the games, there certainly will be. In terms of what we're trying to do sort of to acknowledge this, again, we did adjust the recreation fee for the spring summer period. And I spoke to that a little while ago and it's available on the academic calendar. In terms of for employees, I understand that if you access this through the PRP program, the preferred rate program, I do understand that there are some adjustments that might and should have already been communicated, but if not, please do reach out to the works directly and or Department of Human Resources. But I understand that the works has been communicating directly with members and to sort of have that conversation and compensate accordingly.
Thank you, Jordan. And I do actually see a comment further down the line. I believe this is from the works themselves. So no payroll deductions will be taken for the works memberships in August. This is the August 7th and 21st employee payrolls and the August 15th pension payroll.
Perfect. There we go. Real-time information. Thank you to the works team.
Or it could be from HR. So thank you to both.
Thank you both.
All right. So now we're going to go to a question in the room.
Hi, I just wanted to, I guess, follow up on my colleague from Mansu's question about housing. I just wanted to, I guess, give my perspective and what I've been hearing from students. I think it's great that the 50 students were able to find housing, but from what we've heard, there's a few hundred students who will not be able to avail of the housing that they normally would use in the spring semester. And I know that students can often fall through the cracks. Students don't necessarily have the information, don't necessarily contact you. And I would just, there's nothing that really you can do about it. I would say that this was a very poor decision in general to close down parts of residence for the entire summer and parts for part of the summer. It has caused students to be scared. I have had students come in when I was working at Mansu, I would have students come in terrified, in tears, worrying that they will be homeless for the summer. And regardless if they have those accommodations now, to have them worry about that all year last year, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think that way more planning should have been done and way more communication to have that security for students. It really would have meant a lot. So I do want to really make the point clear that this is not enough at all. And I appreciate that you're doing what you can right now. It's absolutely still unacceptable. And I would also really like to make the point clear that when we're talking about recruitment, students at Memorial University are not happy right now with the Canada Summer Games. They're not happy with Memorial University administration. And so I would be very concerned about trying to recruit people, especially when our campus is falling apart, when we have our residences in pretty bad shape. And I appreciate the renovations that you're trying to do. I would still say I would be concerned about recruitment at this point. When you don't have a happy student body, you don't have a healthy looking campus. That's all I'll say on that. My question, though, is somewhat unrelated. I did hear from students that there would be disruptions to the chapel on campus, and that was a really big concern for some students, especially Muslim students who wouldn't be able to use that space for prayer. And I was wondering if there was any alternative accommodations made for that. I was wondering if, specifically for Muslim students, if you were providing rides to the mosque on Torbay Road, or if there was any alternate accommodations in place. Because yeah, this is the housing thing, huge, unacceptable, but there was more notice for this. As far as I'm aware, students weren't told about the disruptions to the chapel until fairly recently. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments and the question. So just to address a few things there, I guess, if we think about this initiative, this is a multi-year project. It's complex, many stakeholders. And so when decisions were made relating to hosting the games, the bid process was actually back in 2020. If we can all think back to our lives in 2020 at that time, peak pandemic, no one really knew a lot about the future. And so at that time, our trends and usage of campus accommodations looked a little bit different than what they are right now. And our demographics were a little bit different. And so making decisions at a point in time with information available is what we need to realize and recognize as we think about this. I do also agree that this is a team effort, and I am saddened to hear that individuals experience distress and sadness and fear. And my best response to that is, if and as anybody is aware of anyone experiencing hardship because of this opportunity and initiative, please reach out to us to have a conversation. Because if we don't have answers, we will try and work together to understand the challenge and at least understand what is or isn't available. We have been engaging with various stakeholders over the last number of years, including our student unions. And so if there are concerns that are being expressed on behalf of the student body, please bring them forward so we can have conversation, because we can only address issues if we are aware of them. We would have been very happy to have that conversation previously with that information available to us. I will say that in terms of the opportunity of the Canada Games recruitment, we do have a generational opportunity here with a captive audience, with national media airtime. And so we want to build positively and recognize that while there are deficiencies, there is opportunity and there is momentum and opportunity to grow here. And so we're asking everyone to help us by being ambassadors and to identify challenges so we can work through them. But again, let's all be as positive as we can, use this as an opportunity, and yes, let's identify those challenges and start working through them. I will also say that, again, just to say that we're only aware to help those that reach out to us directly or that others share the information. So again, my call there is, if there are members of our student union, if there's members of other organizations here within the university community that are experiencing challenges, whether it's relating to housing or parking or fitness center access or what have you, please reach out, because if individuals don't reach out to us on their one-to-one basis, we can only address things that we're aware of. To answer the question around the chapel, we have been working with the Muslim Students Association as well as the host society, and we have secured access for them during the period of the games based on the schedule that they've provided. So no alternate accommodations are going to be required, as we've been able to work with them to maintain their schedule during the games. This came up fairly recently. I think it's a good example of collaboration and problem solving, where it was raised among operational units, got brought to our office. We had the conversation with the host society, and we were very happy to work through a solution. And we were very happy to work with the Muslim Students Association on that. And I think they were reasonably pleased with that solution as well. So thank you to those who engaged in that process.
Thank you, Jordan. Just recognizing that we are at time for the session, there are a few questions left, but I do encourage everybody to reach out to our office. If we haven't answered your question today, we're happy to answer you one-on-one. And I guess, Jordan, I'll just leave with one last question, again, just to kind of build on what you were getting at just at the very end there. Just to reemphasize, how are we promoting Memorial as a destination for post-secondary education for these athletes?
So there are a number of opportunities that have been secured through our community partnership with the games. And I'll say again, our role here is as a facilitator. So myself and Allison are really trying to facilitate conversation, facilitate connections, make sure that we're taking advantage of the opportunity. So a few ways that we've been engaging in that sense is we established a working group. Our working group had representation from across campus. It had student unions on it, as well as our recruitment office. So we tried to generate opportunities to look at, again, I keep using the word, we have a generational opportunity. This hasn't been here since 1977. Don't know when the next one will be here. How do we take advantage of this opportunity, being mindful of resources, of some of our challenges, et cetera, but how do we take advantage of this opportunity? So through that process, we identified, I'll say, focused efforts that we could engage in to have meaningful impact with families, athletes. We also had individuals with Canada Games experience who could share with us how to take advantage and really what was the most value added. So through that process, we've designed things such as our activation space. We've also negotiated with the host society to have access to certain rights and privileges during the games. So we will have certain rights and privileges to do things specific with athletes. We will have access to the NL Day at the convention center. We have other media opportunities that we're taking advantage of in both official languages because, again, we can get more airtime that way. So we've really tried to be very deliberate and strategic, mindful of our resources to take advantage of this opportunity and really think about the different audiences that are coming here, the athletes, thinking about that pathway to decision making around post-secondary. So also engaging with their families. We've had some opportunities as well to reach out to the athletes and families prior to the games. And so we've taken strategic opportunity of that. So again, those are just some of the ways. And again, really, it's thanks to our campus community. We've had excellent engagement from units across our campuses who want to get engaged, who've shared their ideas with us, and we're really leveraging the opportunity, connecting the dots between stakeholders to take advantage of this generational opportunity. And we hope that we see benefits from the future. And we also reached out to other universities who've hosted recently to see if there's any other ideas that we can bring forward. So hopefully that's helpful in a general sense, but there are some very specific things we've done that we think would be value added based on our consultations. Alison, you've dropped off my screen. I don't know if that means you've left me. I think that was the last question you said. So again, I do just want, Alison, we good? Yep, okay. So I do just want to say thank you again so much to everyone. I know we're a couple minutes over time here, but thank you for engaging in this process. Again, this is our third campus information and engagement session. We really wanted to focus on the university community today, and we've been really happy to share. Again, this is a dynamic project. It's iterative, it's incremental. So please do check those resources that that I mentioned there of our website and reaching out to our email as well, because latest and greatest information, or if there's new things that we can share to help your unit, we're always happy to do that. But aside from that, again, thank you to the team that put this together today. I know it was an effort to line up the technology, and thank you so much. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you in August.